The ants are currently in the "oh my god, there's light. Danger, danger" mode. What's that one doing? Oh wow, they're doing it quite quickly. Bloody hell. Where are they taking them then? Oh wow, oh wow, how cool is that? We just saw the eggs all stuck to each other due to their hairs. They were just moved really rapidly. Neat. Hi. Yes, Nikiari. I'm just going to pop the kettle on and go get a coffee in a minute. I'm just pondering what to do this morning and just generally say hi and touch base insofar as what I'm doing on the editing side of things. I've yet to decide whether or not I'm just going to drop directly into the editing. I'm in crunch mode right now for the latest bullshittery, which takes the form of Divinity Part 3. I'll talk about it momentarily, but, oh, check Steam, says someone out? Sure. Am I logged into Steam? Nope, sorry, just logging into Steam. Hang on. So yeah, how is everyone? You all okay? Hang on. Oh, okay. Oh, thank you, Umlaut. Holy shit. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for your gift. Hang on. Is that a reference to Doctor Who? The thing you just sent me? Hang on. Did it go through? I think so. Cool. Well, thank you very much, Umlaut. Thank you. What's that ant doing there? For some reason it's just holding it in its mandibles. How strange. Yeah, you just sent me the word kablam over and over again. Isn't that the name of that evil corporation from Doctor Who? Thank you, Genomai, and Communism, and B.R. Nicious. Thank you. Good morning, Night Elf. Good morning indeed. So I'm just pondering as to why that worker ant has had a bit of a malfunction. It picked up that cocoon. It picked up the cocoon, but it's not moving it. I wonder if it's had conflicting orders? Be fascinating to see if it would hatch. If the cocoon is ready to hatch. What's it doing? Anyway, sorry, for the people just tuning in, yeah, sorry, I've just gone live to, well, because it's easier than typing. I'm just pondering what to do this morning insofar as whether it's going to be me playing a game or me just going and getting on with the editing after doing a quick update. But on that front, I'm working on Divinity Bullshittery Part 3 still. It's on its rather grueling 11th week of edit. It's nearly done. Quite literally 4 remaining things, and 2 of them I can do today. So I've got a Foley sound effect that I need to record. I've got a voice line from a voice actress that I need to add. I've got an animated cutscene that I need to time along with that voice line, which is a bit tricky. It's a dependency. But there are some other things in the cutscene that I can animate at the same time in the meantime. I've got a work of art that has been delivered by a commissioned artist that I need to slot into the edit and make sure it all works. And yeah, and those are the 4. So 2 of those, the Foley and the commissioned art, I can do today, and then for the rest of it I'll just work on the animation stuff while I wait for the voice line to come in. Yeah. Sure thing, John, although bear with me. Yeah, misleading title. You're not looking at the ant farm. You're looking at a test tube next to the ant farm, which contains another queen. I'm just leaving the camera on one of the workers. Also, why is the glass so foggy? No, it probably would have started hatching by now. Yeah, let me pan the camera left then. So we should see Queen Deborah. One moment. Once again, just the bum of Queen Deborah. Where have they taken the cocoons then? Let me just up the light. They've moved them somewhere. Maybe it's all the way under that cotton wool to the far left. Hang on. I've made it worse, sorry. Ooh, careful. It's really hard to keep the Queen in focus because she's so massive. So it's not a camera that's zoomed in, it's a microscope. So it's really easy to just over-focus. Oh, what's going on? Is she laying an egg, maybe? So the Queen's abdomen is currently facing us. You might see a small white object go out of her egg hatch. We'll see. Right. Anyway, hi everyone. Welcome indeed. I hope you're having a nice day today. Sorry, yes. I just need to keep onboarding the people who are joining. On the YouTube front, I've nearly finished the latest bullshittery, which is Divinity Bullshittery Part 3. There are 5 remaining fixes, and I've just done one of them yesterday. I just need to finish the 4. 2 of them I can definitely do today. The other 2 are a bit harder. They require a voice line that I need to commission, and I don't currently have yet. And then an animation that needs to be timed to the voice line. Strictly speaking, not entirely. There's quite a bit in the animation that I can do just without that. But yeah, nevertheless, I need to slot everything in. If it gets to the point where that's all that remains, I mean, I might just send the video out to a few volunteers just so they can see if you can spot anything that I failed to spot, that sort of thing. Thank you for saying so, Soldier. Fingers crossed this one's good. I must admit, I was a little disappointed with the previous 2 divinities. I've got a bit of a problem. The type of editing that I do intentionally disassociates the individual clips with the sequence of events that takes place in the game. For example, Counter-Strike. I never show one game end to end because it's boring. Instead, I cut the clips and sort them by how funny they are. The problem is, Divinity is a story game, so you just can't do that. So, I've got to try and maximise the amount of funny that's occurring and minimise exposition, whilst also making it so that you can understand what's going on. It's much harder. Much, much harder. Hence the 11 weeks. They've moved the cocoons under the Queen. Spoker, yes indeed. So the large ant you see to the left side of the frame is Queen Deborah, or Queen Debbie. I'm not sure what the name is, sorry, Birdie named her. So, Birdie as in SWAT Knight's X. So, she's currently upside down on some, well, not Birdie, the ant. The ant is currently upside down on the cotton wool there in this test tube. Behind the cotton wool to the left side is a large reservoir of fresh water. When the ants press their mandibles against the cotton wool, they can have a drink. So that's what she's doing. She's probably just hydrating, as are the rest of them. Beneath her, on the floor, along with her sterile daughter workers, she has a large clutch of eggs in what would be the brood room in a proper ant nest. So you're looking at the area which is going to be the heart of the colony once they have it fully established. Of course, they don't think they're in an ant's nest right now. They think they're underground in a starting chamber. After the nuptial flight in the summers, you know, when all of the sky is filled with millions and millions of flying ants, they all go and dig. They'll go find a hole and just dig. Or maybe some of them will find like a crack in a log or something. They'll dig, they'll seal the exit as best they can, and then they'll start laying eggs. That's what she thinks she's doing. She's in a test tube, pinned in by cotton wool on both sides, and she thinks she's safe underground, preparing her first ever chamber. Over time, they'll make probing visits to the surface, and then start digging deeper. Of course, she can't dig deeper because there's water in the way, so instead what I'll do is I'll hook them up, maybe, I haven't decided yet with this queen, hook them up to a proper sand-filled or dirt-filled ant farm. And they'll go, okay, let's start digging. So yeah, she's got about 13 workers that she's managed to hatch beneath her. She's surrounded by about 9 pupating cocoons. That's the final stage. Hang on. What's going on the right there? Sorry, again, I'm very fascinated with that final cocoon on the far right side of the frame. Look. See the way that they're touching it with those feelers? It's communicating. They've detected something's wrong. Or maybe something's right. It might be about to hatch. Technically, it is already hatched. Well, everything apart from those tiny, tiny eggs over there to the middle left of the frame are all hatched. The final stage of the process is pupating. So, well, the pupating. So that larva is transforming into a full worker. I wonder... No, it could just be being moved. The other ant won't let go. Did she just fall on your ass? Right. Seems there was a miscommunication with that ant. So, yes, they're moving around, despite falling on its arse there, they're moving around on 6 legs, which is a pretty common pattern of insect movement. It sort of min-maxes stability versus, amount of protein needed to get those legs going. So all 6 are used for locomotion, none of them are used for handling. All of that is done by the mandibles on the front. In fact, it's, the 6 legs configuration is one of the reasons that we're trying to sort of make drones with 6 legs. In general, it tends to be quite efficient for just movement. Thank you, Trid. Thank you very much, Trid. Is it in focus? You know what? I think the glass is just dirty. I think it is in focus because you can see the workers' abdomens very clearly, but I think they've just got the glass dirty. Great. So, if you're interested in potentially doing this, as in getting your own queens, just to remember that summer, fast approaching, soon the day of the flying ants will occur. If you have some test tubes, some distilled water, and some cotton wool, all of it you can get for pennies on just Amazon or whatever, you can capture some queens. If you just Google test tube setup, you'll see how it works. But you simply put them in the test tubes and put them somewhere dark and quiet. You don't even need to feed them. Just water and cotton wool. And then they'll start growing their own tiny, I suppose, spark of a future ant empire. And if you get bored, you can just let them go. Why distilled water? Once they're sealed into the tube, well, not sealed, but once they're in the tube, Milan, it's a bit of a hassle to move them into a different one, and using distilled water will minimize the chances of a bacterial or fungal infection in the cotton wool, spread in the cotton wool. So the cotton wool is also an excellent place for a fungal outbreak, which is unfortunately what's happening to the far left of the frame, just out of frame, in fact. They've got a bit of a fungus problem. So I'm going to have to move them into a new test tube. To do that, all I have to do is hook up a new test tube, put that one in the dark, leave the old test tube in the light, and sometimes even use whiskey stones, basically cubes of soapstone that I've popped in the fridge or freezer, placing them next to the test tube in order to reduce its temperature. The ants, who are hypersensitive to both temperature and moisture, will detect that the conditions in the tube are no longer favourable, and they'll simply move to the new one. What do they feed on? So initially, once they're in their test tube like this, they don't need to feed on anything. The queens have been packed with nutrients before they've been sent, so they've been intentionally overfed ahead of their flight, and also they've got their wing muscles, which are now completely useless after their first and only flight. They remove their wings, presumably to help them hide from predators, but not always, it varies, and they get themselves underground, at which point they start cannibalizing their own muscle tissue on their wings, so the huge ridge section on their backs. Using that protein, they create their first batch of eggs, which hatch to, give them about a dozen workers or so. So these guys have had access to nutrition. I've dropped in a little piece of, chopped up pieces of insects, and yesterday I gave them a small cardboard plate of honey. So I have been feeding them, but nevertheless, for a starting test tube, you don't really need to for the first few months. So that ant is probably trying to move the eggs away from the light. Apparently not, VGI. Just distilled water, according to the test tube setup guides that I've been reading. Just distilled water in the tube. The queen has everything else she needs. How's the other ant colony? I can show them shortly if you wish. So this is merely a test tube, but I do have another ant farm next to me. A queen from the same nuptial flight, in fact. So the other queen, though, got busy very quickly. For some reason, Deborah started... Well, she waited until the winter was over, until she hatched her first workers, even though she was living comfortably in my spice cupboard. There was no winter. Just instinct, I guess. But the other one did not. The other one just got to work immediately and started hatching as many workers as possible. So whilst Deborah has about 13 workers, Millicent, named by Maya, Sinai's super hot girlfriend, has about 30-something. Clumbum, no doubt they're just trying to move the eggs out of the light. They'll continually move the eggs and the larvae and the pupating workers to different locations based on optimal temperatures and moisture in the nest, along with picking them up and cleaning them. Is the silent one dead, sleeping or resting? They're all just resting. Like xenomorphs waiting for orders in the walls of their hive, they're staying still to preserve as much energy as possible. They're creatures of pheromones, ants. Whenever they detect certain pheromones, they'll spring to action, so if there's an alarm pheromone, we are under attack, they will all spring to life. Okay, let me switch over to the ant farm, shall I? Okay, 1 minute. So... this is a picture of the... Oh, hang on, is that the new picture? Did I remember to upload it? Fantastic. So this is actually a picture of what they look like now. So let me show you this. Hang on. So you see this picture? This is the ant farm in February of this year. Here's an overlay to show you exactly where they were tunneling when I first connected up Queen Millicent. She went into the lower left section, where it says where I first connected the test tube, and then she started digging into a first chamber. This was all completely full of sand. I packed it myself. So, she went into that first chamber on the left, and then she started digging a secret tunnel. Oh, can you see the overlay? Yeah. She started digging a secret tunnel called Hidden Chamber, and I could tell that she was doing that because there was a skylight that fell. Some of the sand fell from the top left there. And from there, once they got larger, in about sort of like May, they dug that next tunnel. Now, it looks like this. So this is a new shot of it. You can see that the skylight section has fully collapsed. I did that. I did it on purpose. I waited until all of the queen and all of the eggs and all of the workers were in the first chamber, and then I removed the temperature sensor to the top left and put water, distilled water, into the ceiling until it was too heavy, so the whole thing slopped down to the ground. As nice as it is for them to always have a place to hide, it is nice to see what they're doing, so I intentionally removed the ceiling. Bit of a double-edged sword, because the ceiling is quite mucky now. It's kind of annoying. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. Maybe I should have just let them do it. Anyway, so that's what it looks like as of... wait, that can't be right. Sorry, I got the dates wrong. Why did I put this May? Sorry, May, not May. What am I on about? I said June. I've named it incorrectly. Okay, so 1 minute. Let me just switch the camera over to this ant farm and you can see what they're doing. Sorry, I just need to move Deborah back into the spice cupboard. 1 second. Okay, just going to move over to... Okay, 1 minute. So the camera is now on the west side of this image now. Hang on. So it's going to be pointing directly into, so just past the temperature sensor into what was the hidden chamber. So here we go. Oh, has it frozen on me? Let me just deactivate it and there we go. Weird. Okay, so let me just pull back the cover. Is it in focus? I think it is, but the ceiling is so damn dirty. Yeah, it was my bad there. So there's Queen Millicent tucked into the corner. You can see the details on the workers' abdomens there. It's just that because I flooded the whole ceiling, the sandy ceiling, with water and it fell on its own, so the ants didn't clean it themselves. That's kind of annoying. Okay. So, Queen Millicent tucked in the corner, sitting atop her brood. For some reason I can see that they have 2 brood chambers. Okay, I'll try fiddling with the... Oh, look at her. I'll try fiddling with the focus. Just made it worse. Yeah, it's just the mucky glass, I'm afraid. Okay. Well, we can see the Queen, just not very well, I'm afraid. So yeah, she's tucked in the corner, surrounded by only about 10 of her workers. I can see just looking down into it that they've actually got 2 separate brood chambers. I wonder why. What has she got beneath her? Can we see? Is it the youngest eggs, maybe? I can move over to the other brood chamber, which should be a bit clearer, I hope. She's trying to figure out what's going on. She wonders if perhaps there's been a breach. She's got light on her and she doesn't know where it's coming from. Look at her though, beautiful creature. Well, I think it's beautiful. Right. She seems a bit antsy. Yeah. Okay, 1 minute. Let me just pan the camera around to the other chamber. So, again, for reference, you're looking at... 1 minute. So you're looking at where it says hidden chamber. Pretty much exactly where it says hidden chamber. That's where the camera's pointing, coming in from the left side of the image. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the camera down past first chamber into that long sort of, like shoe-shaped, I nearly said phallic, shoe-shaped initial chamber next to that wall. Let's try that. Hang on. So the ceiling is in the way. Let me spin the camera round. There's a separate batch of eggs. Ah, those are the youngest. Those are the hatched larvae. Yeah, I think that's in focus. Let me up the brightness. Okay. So yeah, they've got a separate chamber for some reason. This one is much closer to the entrance. You can see all of these eggs have hatched. So these are the hatched sort of caterpillar / maggot looking things. Yeah. Varying in size from the very small to the middle to that massive one to the right side. Okay. I've yet to catch one of them wrapping itself in silk. I'm really keen to do so. I really want to catch it, film it, and then time-lapse it so I can show you later. But yeah. Indeed, John Doe. It depends on the species. But when an ant is ready to pupate, when it's ready to change from its larval form, so one of these things that you see in front of you, into a full worker, it will begin the process of, well, sorry, is it pupation? It will pupate. So it will start changing itself. And you can see the whole thing, that its whole structure just radically modifies itself into a sort of like a flat-packed ant. And to do that, the first thing they do is that they squirt silk around themselves. I could tell you how they do it, but I don't know. At least not with this species. I've yet to see one do it, but I've yet to see the process. So I'm fascinated to watch it. But yes, from the safety of their silk, they'll spend a couple of weeks turning themselves into a full worker, and then they'll hatch. Interestingly, when they actually hatch into full workers, they find themselves completely incapable of eating solid food. Their mouth parts prevent them from doing so. The larvae can eat solid food. I found that out fairly recently, to my surprise, when I saw them just gorging themselves on some insect that I chopped up and put in there for them, a mealworm. But the workers don't, and apparently they don't need to anyway, because once they're fully grown, like this, they don't do any more growing. So all of the energy expended to make the worker, it's done. They're finished. They're in their final adult form. So that from that point onwards, they only really need water and sugars and a little bit of carbohydrates in order to live. All of the protein, the solid protein, is given to the larva and the queen. Hi there, Digby. Do you want ants? This is how you get ants. Indeed. Some knobhead found these queens in the car park outside and put them in test tubes. But yeah, I don't find myself, this isn't like a, I don't find myself fascinated with ants generally, but it was something easy that I could do, and I read about it on Reddit, and I thought, I'm gonna give it a go. I've got like my own little private nature show on the desk next to me. I can't wait until they're bigger, until I've got like an ant farm of hundreds, if not thousands of them. Fox Redcap says, I noticed that with my colony. They live for about 6 months with just water and honey. Exactly. But yeah. Is it possible that they're rationing the food and being separated and prioritizing the ones with needs? Sort of, but rationing wouldn't be the correct word. What they're really doing is they're sort of stocking themselves. They bring as much food as they can carry into the colony, and then they'll pass it to one another via a social stomach. They can store a sort of liquid food stuff in their stomachs. They've got like we have no comparable organ. They've got like a shared stomach. And so each individual ant acts as a storage device for the entire colony. So even if they're just standing there doing nothing, they're acting as a storage device. And then whenever like a larva, or the queen, or another worker needs food, they pass it from ant to ant via their mouthparts. It looks a bit like kissing. They open up their mandibles and sort of intimately touch their heads together. They're exchanging food. Oh, in fact, is that going to be perfect timing? Is the in the middle? Look in the middle. Are they about to exchange food? Maybe not. It looks very obvious when you see it. It looks exactly like kissing. Anyway, sorry, for the people just joining the stream, I hope you're having a nice morning. Welcome indeed. A quick update on the on the editing side of things. Once again, sorry for the huge drought of content on the YouTube channel. I promise you I have been very busy. On the 11th week trying to finish Divinity Bullshittery Part 3. It is almost done. 4 more fixes, 2 of which I can definitely do today, and it's ready. The problem is those remaining fixes are very complicated. They're not quick fixes, that's for sure. So yeah, after this, if you'll forgive me, I just want to take a short break because I'm completely burnt out. I'm just so tired. My brain is dead. I'm going to take a few days, go fishing, just relax, not think about editing or work at all. I'll do loads of streams, but, you know, just off goes the alarm clock. And, yeah. And then I'll come back and, I'll put some polls up insofar as what you would like as the next bullshittery. Send them out to the Twitch subscribers and the patrons, and you guys can tell me what you'd like me to do next. On that front, normally I'd send the polls out via an email to the Twitch subscribers. Twitch took away that feature. I suppose sorry on their behalf. It's rather frustrating. So instead there's a Discord group below to replace it. It serves only as a it's more like a mailing list, to be honest. Once again, I'm sorry to make you jump through those hoops. I shouldn't have to say that. You shouldn't have to sign up for an alternate service, Discord, in order to get access to something that you sub to and should be getting anyway. So anyway, there's a replacement thing below, and yeah, I'll send you the poll. Well, I'll send you the bullshittery once it's ready. I'll send you the polls, and yeah. Sorry to say, Melino, but I just disagree. I don't think cake is correct. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, who knows, but I don't think that YouTubers outsourcing their work to other editors is a good thing. I think it's a demonstrably bad thing. Thank you, Endorus and Reluctant Snake. Thank you, both of you. Okay. What's that to the left side there? Is that a pupating one? I see an enormous white blob. Yeah, trouble. Nads, not wishing to go down this rabbit hole because it's winding and complicated and. But where's the easy stuff in an edit? It's all decisions. It's all decision making point to point. Even the stuff that seems simple. If you start outsourcing to another person, their creative input starts to be input, which is a risk. It is a risk, especially with comedy, in my opinion. That's a huge risk. You suddenly add someone else's sense of humor, their sense of comic timing. Are they even funny? Thank you, Inspector Boris. Thank you. Okay. Sorry, 1 minute. I'm just going to fiddle with something. Well, I think most people are just... yeah, as I keep saying, Gus, most people are just chilling. Live streams are, for the most part, people just lurking, so I'm sure people are working and doing other stuff. Hell, I mean, when this ant farm gets large enough, I wouldn't be that opposed to the idea of just leaving the camera on them. When there's enough workers moving through a given area and the tunnels are clear and you can actually see what's going on, I could just get on with editing, just leave a camera on the ant farm for a few hours with some chill music. If people just wanted to tune in and just watch a bunch of ants busily doing anti-things. You know what I mean? As in, like, put a camera like in their brood chamber or something and just see them come back and forth with food and water. These are black garden ants, maladictail. Sorry, maladicentail? Dicentail, sorry. Black garden ants, very common in the UK, typically found in urban environments beneath paving stones, although they are a woodland species, I believe, initially. They very much adapted to human life, so human cities. They have no sting or bite of any consequence to any human, and they're very calm, so they're a good starting species, apparently. They do not have separate castes of workers, so they just have a single worker. There is no dedicated soldier class or anything like that. They only have one queen, although apparently queens are initially tolerant of each other, but eventually tolerance will escalate to hostility. And after, say, I think it's about 3 or 4 years, you start to see a colony reach numbers of a few thousand, and you start to see their first new queens emerge for the nuptial flights in the summer, so when they send them out flying. Are they good habitats to get? Well, I mean, me double J, you can just start with a test tube. Like, no joke, it's just a single test tube with cotton wool, and that will keep you going for months. I mean, some people just keep their ants entirely in test tubes and just, like, hook them together in a test tube farm. Like, linked together with stoppers and plastic tubing. So you don't have to get, like, a full ant farm. In fact, according to the guides that I've read, moving them into an ant farm too soon is a mistake. In fact, I made that mistake. I moved Millicent into her ant farm when she only had about 6 workers. I was impatient. And also, one of those workers escaped, and I felt really guilty. And I wanted them to reunite with it, because I put it in the ant farm. And I had no way of getting it back in the test tube without all of the others escaping. So, yeah. Indeed have. Yes, in order to take out the colony, you've got to get the queen. And putting down poisons and stuff like that isn't very effective, because workers apparently don't go from the entrance to the central chamber. They'll wait at the entrance for that exact reason, to contain the spread of parasites and poisons. So when they go out foraging, they'll send the oldest ants first. And the oldest ants will retrieve food and then bring it back to the entrance chamber and generally go no further. They will wait, they will hand off their cargo to another ant, and then go outside again. Some species even barricade the entrance to their chamber at night, with a bunch of workers sealing it and then just wandering off to die. They send their oldest, the ones that they are willing to sacrifice. Yeah, they don't work the same way as we are used. They're extremely different. You social creatures are so extremely different, to the point that it wouldn't really be fair to think of them as individual organisms, although they are. Really, they are cells. They are cells of one body. They're tissue. Each of them following extremely simple instructions, just like our tissues. And collectively, they make a complex whole. But that complex whole is not fully aware, it's just control from the bottom up. It's something that we as humans have trouble conceptualizing. We are all about control from the top down. We visualize a leader. We literally call them queens. They have no concept of that. No concept of royalty or leadership from above. They are simply a product of very simple, easy to understand instructions from the bottom up. Like a flock of birds, seeming complex and organized, but no individual bird knows what the fuck is going on. Not really a hive mind either. Not in the sense that, like, not really a hive mind. It's just a bunch of tissue that's reacting to stimuli in certain ways. But yeah, fascinating creatures though. Just interesting to watch them. What would normally be concealed in the darkness beneath paving stones, just seeing them under the light, their little kingdoms. And they're so specialized. Is it like 1/5 of all like biomass on Earth, on land, is just ants? They have conquered this world. They've gone into all different conditions and specialized. Be it the tops of trees or the deepest, hottest parts of the desert, you will find ants. Is humidity a problem? No, not really. I've got a set of like blunt-nosed syringes, which I fill with distilled water, and I can squirt it into the bungs, so the plastic bungs in each. Hang on, sorry. So you see here? Can you see around the? Oh no. Oh no, you can see one. Can you see to the bottom left that plastic little plug? They've sealed it off with sand, but that doesn't stop me from getting the syringe nose through it. I can poke it all the way through and then put water into the ant farm directly to keep the humidity high. So they love their humidity. They love it. It turns out, I didn't realise, that doing that can actually control where they move. Granted, that's probably something that's only true when they're small, in like small numbers. But I can actually make a different chamber more humid, and they'll go, woo, and they'll go over there. Which is great if I wanted to say, fiddle with the temperature sensor or something, and a bunch of queens, the queen is sitting near it. What good do ants do? The question is malformed? They exist, they thrive, they reproduce. Like all life, you know, they crack on and they continue to evolve and adapt with changing scenarios in their natural environment. It's not about doing good, it's about surviving. And they are survivors. Thank you, Emily. Thank you very much, Emily. Hi there, Emily Farrowan. Thank you for doing that, Emily, for the 31 months. Oh, and before that, Clark. Thank you, Clark. And Erulium, Skywalker, Origins, and Slender. Sorry for missing. Sorry about that. I don't have the sub notifications on. Sorry about that. But yeah. Indeed, yes, some ants, yeah, you've just got these incredible super colonies, just ridiculously large. They're all about the numbers. Not yet, small man in green. Work got busy. Do I feed them centipedes? No. In my freezer, I've got like a small, sort of like knee-high freezer. Which I keep for, doesn't matter, just got a small freezer. In that I've got some food for them. I've got some frozen crickets, some frozen mealworms, and something called waxworms, which are kind of gross. But what I do is I chop tiny segments off of those and place them onto a piece of cardboard in their outworld. So in addition to what you're seeing here, so beneath the frame, there is an exactly identical plastic mold, but instead of the glass on the top, there's a sort of like a case, like an aquarium, as in yes, glass, but it goes up vertically, and then it's got a lid on the top with a bunch of holes poked in it. So all I do is I drop stuff into that outworld, and they can go and forage at their leisure. I could also choose to just attach a tube to the exit to the outworld and just send it anywhere I want. Hell, I could send it outside if I really wanted to. Not that it would be a very good idea, considering I'm on an upper floor. Unless I can fly. But still, I mean, I could snake the tubing around the desk and put it onto another table if I wanted them to, go and forage over there. And they'll do it. They'll follow scent trails. People joining the chat have talked about how ants keep invading their homes. You know how much of a pain it is to have ants trek in following scent trails. I had one escape, Paragon. I've mentioned the story a few times, but I was what was I doing? I was replacing one of the test tubes, and I used some sticky tape to attach them to a new tube, and then I was just getting on with work, and then I noticed that there was an ant on the desk next to me, just looking at me, and I was like, hello. And so I sort of went, oh, fuck's sake. And I picked up some tissue, and I considered just killing it, but it was only one of about 6 workers that was in that test tube at the time. It was one of Millicent's new workers. So I got a piece of tissue, and I let it crawl onto the tissue, and then I placed it in the ant farm that had just arrived, like brand new, straight out of the packet. So I placed it in the ant farm, and then I didn't know what to do. I was like, oh, shit. There's no way of opening the test tube without having them all escape. So eventually I just decided to hook up. Like, my plan was to hook up Queen Millicent early so that she could reunite with this worker. So as I was going through with that plan, I looked down on my desk. There's an ant just looking at me. It's the same fucking ant. The same fucking... I didn't put on the bungs on the side of... Cause the new ant farm had just arrived. I hadn't fully assembled it. So it just walked out. And just came and said hi again. So I was like, motherfucker. So tissue back in the ant farm, put the plastic bungs on. And then it just kind of sat there and had an existential crisis. So it sat there overnight. So it was late at night. I didn't have time for this. So I just sealed the ant farm and just left it there. Then I came back in the morning and it was just curled up in a corner having an existential crisis. It had no orders. It didn't know what to do. It was like red blood cells that were disconnected from the system, just trying to follow expired orders. It didn't know what to do. So I hooked up the test tube containing Queen Millicent and watched and waited as I got on with work, and I noticed that the workers would make probing explorations into the ant farm in order to find out what was going on. They weren't keen to move in, but they were exploring. As I watched, one of them found the escapee, the Houdini ant, and what I saw afterwards was really quite fascinating. I thought that they might kill it. And my suspicions were initially, I thought, confirmed when they basically grabbed it. They grabbed it with its mandibles and started dragging it back to the nest. And they dragged it all the way back beneath the queen. And then it was surrounded, like I'm not even dramatizing this, it was surrounded by like 3 other workers. And I thought they were going to pull it to pieces. I thought they were going to recycle it and be like, protein, whatever. But they didn't. Instead, the worker, the Houdini ant, just froze. Didn't move. Froze. And they started just cleaning it. They were going up and down its body. All 3 of these workers were going up and down its body, down its abdomen, over its thorax, as it remained completely motionless. And I suspect that what it had done, it had released a pheromone that said, shit, I'm in danger. They have that, apparently. They can release a pheromone that tells people that, like, fuck, I'm lost, or fuck, I'm in danger. That's what they were cleaning off. So they found an ant that was panicking, didn't know what to do. They pulled it back to the trail, dragged it back inside the nest, cleaned it off of any potential any contamination, but also the pheromone, and then, like magic, it just got up and returned to its duties. It was really quite fascinating to watch. I wish I'd filmed it. It just came back online, like a tiny robot given new orders. And now, a couple of them have died, but for all I know, we could be staring at that Houdini ant right now. It's still in this nest, as far as I know. But again, they are tiny, tiny organic machines following simple instructions, collectively making something complex, but individually, just one instruction at a time. Fascinating little things. You can see now, the picture hasn't frozen at all. They're just waiting. They're waiting for further instructions in further tasks. Sometimes they'll stop and start cleaning. What's that one doing over there, I wonder? So one of them... One of them is doing something next to the plastic bung over to the left. I wonder if it's perhaps excavating. Anyway, I'll pan the camera... That's it, to the left there. What's it doing? I'll pan the camera back to the Queen, shall I? See what she's doing? 1 minute. So the camera's about to spin all the way round to the right side. You see that cork wall? The Queen's on the other side of that cork. Oops. Really? Does it crash? I've crashed it. Hang on. How strange. Ooh, it's going to fall off. Where is she? Yeah, it's the damn ceiling, isn't it? I made a big mistake by collapsing the top of the chamber with water. We can't see anything. The ceiling's just so damn dirty. That's annoying. So the Queen is there, but she's little more than an indistinct blob. How irritating. Okay. Well, I won't make that mistake in the future. I'm just going to let them clean the roof themselves. Sorry, for those that weren't here an hour ago, I basically flooded the top of the chamber about 2 weeks ago with distilled water. I made sure that no ants were in the chamber. My hope was that all the sand would slop down and then I could see what they were doing when they rebuild the tunnel. And that's true, but now they won't clean the ceiling and it's filthy. Whoops. Hang on. So that's our worker who's checking out the plastic bung. Not sure what he's doing. Hang on. That's better. There we go. Can you see the difference in the glass cleanliness in this section here? They clean this out themselves. This was wall to wall packed with sand. You can see the little crumbs of sand, the few grains of sand left on the glass where they haven't cleaned it away. I should have just let them do it. I got impatient. My bad. Yes, Mr. Anderson. So the ant farm was completely packed with sand. And they tunneled all of this themselves. I wanted to best replicate their natural natural conditions underneath a paving stone. You see loads of them here in Brighton, on the far south coast of the United Kingdom. So you see lots of little mounds of sand, which is beneath the paving stones. Thank you, Farmer Boy Sam. Thank you very much, Farmer Boy. And Zersel and Pender and OPEC. Thank you, all of you. So yeah, for the people just passing through the stream, you're looking at an ant farm that's been going for, well, since June of last year. The queens, there were 4 of them, spent the winter in the spice cupboard in test tubes. But one of them, the one that the one that laid eggs by far the fastest, got her own ant farm. Queen Millicent. And you're looking at her workers and one of her 2 brood chambers. There are about 30 ants. Over time, they're going to keep growing. I couldn't tell you how quickly. I know that after about 3 or 4 years, you'll reach an ant farm with thousands, probably. Yeah, time flies, Mr. Anderson. Are they okay with daylight on the eggs? Not really, no. So they're probably a little bit knocked off. So what I'll do is when this is, so pretty soon, because I do need to go get on with work today. I'll put the cover back on. They've got both the red plastic cover and a cardboard cover that I cut myself just to keep them nice and dark and safe. Will I ever drop another queen in there to watch them fight? Nah, seems a bit mean. Whoops. What will I do if they break out? I'll just take some tissue and just let them crawl onto the tissue and put them back in the outworld. But yeah. What else is going on? Not much really. Just trying to finish this YouTube project. I'm feeling... I shouldn't say this because I'm feeling sort of fat and unhealthy because my diet has gone to shit. It always does towards the end of any given project. So when it's done, I'm going to go jogging and I'm going to go food shopping and I need to sort my life out. Yeah. Ah, dear. There's a YouTube channel that does the Fighting Queen stuff. Seems a bit... not for me, that's for sure. It's nature, it happens. It's, it's a little more than a constant war is the life of an ant, but not for me. Sorry to hear that Husk. I hope your dad feels better soon. I hope his heart problems feel much better soon. Yeah, I need to go do more jogging, generally speaking. For it's not really a case of trying to stop being fat. It's more of a case you've got to exercise that heart. All of you listening, I know that there's a whole bunch of men listening, and you're not doing enough exercise. You need to go and raise your heart rate. Go walk up and down some stairs or go jogging or whatever. You've only got the one heart, and the moment it fails is the moment you're dead. No, not even. Don't do that either. Don't make it all about weights either. You have to do cardio. You got to go do some cardio. Yep, and that as well. Yeah, public service announcement. Check your testicles. Have a good feel. It is weird if you ask someone else to do it. And also, simply because I had a scare a few years ago, and now everyone takes the piss out of me on the internet, but truth be told, I did that to myself. If there is anything a bit wonky about the way that you're peeing, or just anything a bit unusual down there, for Christ's sake, tell your doctor. So in my case, I had weird urgency to pee. Like, I couldn't hold my bladder. I'd be sitting in a meeting in the office when I was back in software development, and like after 20 minutes, I'd be like, I need to pee. Like, what the fuck? So I told my doctor, and it's a case of, okay, yeah, we need to check your prostate. Because apparently, 1 in 5 men, that's an absurdly high number, get prostate cancer. That's ridiculous. That's insanity. So that means of 2,000, there's 2,200 people watching. There's hundreds of you right now that will get prostate cancer. And some of you might have that little niggle. There's something weird. There's that little thing that you've got going weird with the way that you pee, or maybe things aren't quite the same as they were a while ago. Please tell your GP. Tell your GP. It'll kill you. It'll just flat out kill you if you don't. Apparently, I mean, hang on. Is that still true? That's what I was told. 1 in 5? How many men get prostate cancer? Oh, sorry. Now, hang on a minute. That's off. It's 1 in 8. 1 in 8. What's the source? Prostate Cancer UK. Okay, 1 in 8. My mistake. Not 1 in 5. But still, 1 in 8 is fucking huge. That's not a small... That's not small at all. But yeah, turns out mine was fine. My doctor just recommended less caffeine. He says that I've got a nervous bladder, by the sounds of it. So it's nervous to caffeine. Hmm. Darth Kader says my mum died because she didn't get slight breathing problems checked out. I'm sorry to hear it, Darth. My sympathies to you, Darth. Kate, sorry, is it Kader or Calder? Sorry, my mistake. I thought it was an I. Yeah, seriously, if there's anything a bit weird with, say, in specifics, the way that you pee, or you can't get it up quite the same, you need to tell your GP, guys. Don't pussy out, you'll die. Did getting off the coffee help? We can't make sacrifices that great. What would happen if two queens meet? Apparently, so I read, Nero, if two queens encounter each other fairly new into the nest creation, they'll generally ignore each other. They'll ignore each other or even attempt to barricade the chambers between the two. That won't be true after a certain amount of time. The initial objective of the queen is to simply lay as many workers as possible and get them hatched, but once the colony enters a sort of expansion phase, where the queen's role is purely to lay as many eggs as possible and the workers have effectively taken over, apparently it becomes aggression. The two sides will fight each other for control, and also, frankly, the other workers and their larvae are... I mean, it's protein, it's food. Ants see each other as food. Kind of, Kin. And as I keep saying, so we need to not think about ants or bees or any eusocial insect in terms that we understand as humans. They are more like individual cells or tissue, I suppose. They're small machines following basic instructions. Control is from the bottom up, never from the top down. There is no royal ant giving orders. Each one simply has a series of instructions that it's following to the best of its ability. And you can confuse the shit out of them. If you give them the wrong instructions, that famous thing where they, that science experiment where they would put the I am dead pheromone on a live ant, and then the other workers would just carry it, kicking, to the graveyard. They're not thinking it through. They have no capacity to think it through. They're simply following very simple instructions. A product of millions and millions of years of successful instructions. The unsuccessful instructions simply don't get to, they don't get replicated. Dr. House, right now I'm just sort of bantering and I've got the camera on one of the brood chambers in this ant farm. So here we've got, hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's at least 7 ants in front of you. But to the right side is another chamber, presumably with another 15 or so. So this ant farm consists of about 30 individuals, with another, I think there's like 4 pupating workers currently. So that is in the final stage of their transformation. And then in front of you, you've got a series of workers, a series of hatched larvae. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Is that one there? 12, I think? Either 12 or... Okay, well, they're about... I'd give it about 5 weeks away from becoming workers. Maybe 6 or 7 weeks, depending on some of the small ones. So, yes. What's my favourite Game of Thrones character? Well, I'm glad you asked, A97. I think that Arya, clearly becoming the badass girl boss, assassin lady, for like 3 weeks, and then going and like fighting super, like, swoosh, whoosh, spear, whoosh. Yeah. Thank you, Fog. Thank you very much, Fog. Actually, I haven't really thought about it, to be honest. I don't know. I have no idea. I've never really thought it through. They all kind of ended up in a valley of suck, so it's hard to really look down into it and determine which one. Well, okay, that's not entirely true. If there's one character that the whole damn series didn't fuck up, if there's one character that absolutely shone through the brightest and whose actor really fucking nailed it, it would be... Is it Alfie... I can't remember his name, I'm so sorry. Is it Alfie Allen, I want to say? Theon. What's his name again? Sorry. Theon, played by... It is Alfie Allen. Yeah, wow. He was really good. Really, really... Like, towards the end, what a scene stealer in every... At least I thought. As an actor, getting an opportunity to go from, like, cocksure, smug, you know, to losing everything and just being a broken shell and then building it up again and then eventually sort of choosing something to fight for and then dying for it. Yeah, it did really well. Hats off to him, because I was so impressed. Thank you, Navo and Comrade. Thank you, both of you. No, I would have liked the Hound, but they fucked him. They did this weird revenge thing, which really wasn't... It's been said a million times. Like, they did a weird, like, I'm after revenge, and then I'm over revenge, and then he's suddenly after revenge, and then it doesn't make any sense. Is the stream really quiet? Sorry, I should lean into the mic. Do you mind if I just pop... Can I just pop the kettle on? I fancy a coffee. I was going to make a coffee earlier, but I forgot. Where's my... Hang on. I've moved my French press. Back in a second. Disaster. Hello. Oop, my chair's sinking. Hang on. Yeah, Mad John. Yeah, they did fine work with the material given. It's just the material was shit. But also, and I know it's been said a million times with Game of Thrones, it also was a show that was kind of coasting on a lot of goodwill, in the sense that people gave a lot of leeway to some things that didn't make sense, because they're like, okay, it will make sense later. But then when later turned out to be never, and it was just wheel spinning or bullshit. I think a lot of people felt very, you know, it's the same, it's the thing with Lost, isn't it? The TV show. You expect writers to write something with a purpose and not just, well, we don't know. Because after that, it becomes a case of, well, hire someone who does know. You don't have time for that shit. I don't want to watch some TV series written by some mystery box executive who has no idea what the fuck he's doing. Hire someone who does know what they're doing. The rest of us, in the real world, we're going around, we have to show competence. We can't show incompetence. We get fired. So what? A Hollywood executive gets away with being a fucking moron and we're just expected to enjoy it? No. Sorry, for some reason I'm ranting. You know what I mean? Hang on. Ugh. Indeed, but the point is that, at least in my opinion, that's a big part of the backlash. It was given leeway on the assumption that they knew what they're doing, but then when the answer was they didn't know what they were doing, they had no idea. And many of the people who were so invested in the show had already come out with better endings, showed greater competence than the writers of the damn show. Yeah, people were pissed. No, I haven't, Terukta. Not familiar, sorry. Thank you, Market. Thank you very much, Markets. Yeah, I'm not really interested, Maledic, with the new Game of Thrones prequel shit. I mean, maybe, like talk to me again after, season 4 or something. If it's, season 4 and people are like, you should really start watching this. Yeah. But I don't give a shit. How many programs have ended crap in the last few years? Yeah, it does seem to be an endless problem, doesn't it? I mean, sorry to continually waffle to the people that have heard it before, but I was still really frustrated. Battlestar Galactica was my Lost. You know how people got angry with the end of Lost? I watched through all of Battlestar Galactica, loved it, and then it just shat itself at the last minute. It basically landed on the same rocks as Game of Thrones. And it's like, fuck, what were you doing? And the answer is they didn't know what they were doing. They had no idea what they were doing. No clue. No, I haven't, Merbles. Not familiar with Severance, sorry. Thank you, Mudov. Thank you very much, Mudov. Wait, sorry, Severance? Is that not? Oh no, sorry, I'm being stupid. I'm thinking of, Sorry, no, I'm thinking of something completely different. I'm thinking of a game from 2001. Thank you, Fab Alien. Thank you very much, Fab. Mad John, I've not seen the new Halo. No, not touching that. I wasn't aware that there was one, Huma. Sorry, there is one? Really? Is there a reboot in the works? Jesus. No. Anyway. Yeah. And Cornered Badger, when it comes to what you just said there about book series being used and then destroyed, it's so particularly strange because it's a case of you've got a book or whatever, and granted, everyone knows that you can't just translate something from book to screen. The formats are completely different, in the same way that you can't make something from game to screen. It doesn't work. You've got to make adaptions. But it's weird that when adaptions are so far-fetched, it's a case of you had a test market that proves that X concept works. When you abandon the concept, it's like, what are you doing? When you have stuff that you know works, throwing it away and chasing a new audience is just incompetence. Pure and simple. And ultimately there comes a point where what's that analogy I keep making? It's the racetrack analogy. So, like, writing in an established setting, it doesn't matter how the setting was established, be it book or game or whatever. When you're writing in an established setting, it's a bit like racing on a racetrack that's already been defined. Sure, there'll be barriers on that racetrack, right? So sometimes it's a really solid, well-established barrier, and sometimes it's a soft barrier. I'm talking about law. And sometimes there are sections of the track that are a bit hazy, maybe untouched. Maybe you can fill them in with your own law later, but where you've got a bit of leeway. The idea is that you're supposed to race the track. People turn up to watch you race the track. When it says Halo, the Netflix series or whatever, sorry, I don't know who makes it. When it says that people expect to turn up and see you race past these barriers that have been established. When you hit one of the barriers, people go, what? Were you not paying attention? When you smack one of the barriers, eyebrows get raised. And eyebrows get raised because people have been enthusiastically studying that track for years. Some people even navigate it themselves. They write their own fiction. And they're doing it flawlessly. So why is a well-paid writer struggling? Even if they scream the words subverting expectations, you're still hitting a barrier that other people have been able to effortlessly avoid. And ultimately, it comes a point where striking so many barriers is just indistinguishable from incompetence. Because all you have is someone not racing the track that people came there to see, and a vehicle that's on fire. Sorry, just sipping coffee. But yeah. They didn't hit the barriers, they just went around cars in the parking lot. Well then, yeah, then the people that were there to watch you race the track are just not interested. Then no one cares. If anything, you become renowned for being a trash fire. People rubberneck the trash fire rather than watch you elegantly race the track. But yeah. You can understand it's hard to fulfill expectations from book to screen. There's lots of stakeholders you have to keep happy. It is hard. It is hard. But forgive me for saying so, Paragon. You're looking at people who should be at the very top of the fucking food chain. You're looking at the top people, or when it comes to enough money in the works, should be the top people in an industry. If you go to software development, or I don't know, pick anything, pick any fucking industry and start working your way up the chain, generally speaking, you're going to find people generally get more competent the higher up you go, unless something is staggeringly wrong. Because in many industries, there's no time for the incompetent. No time. You fuck up, you get sacked. Again, it varies greatly based on the industry. So yes, it is hard, but it's the very, it's when you've got like a director that's done 2 films and suddenly they're given like an $80 million budget or something to deliver some, that's probably a bad example, but to deliver some film, and it's kind of like, what the fuck? It's high stakes, high competence should be at the very top. Not idiot comes along with an idea because he had a liquid lunch with some producer and sucked his dick or whatever. Yeah, probably I was off, wasn't I? Like 300 million for like one of those. But yeah. Yeah, okay, it's fine. Bad example, but you get my point. Generally, on most industries, there's There is an expectation of competence, especially at the high level. Because if you don't, I mean, you're kind of foolish, because there are people that are at way lower level who are way more competent. And you could hire them for way less, and they do a much better job. Sorry, Chinny. Hi there, Chinny. Chinny, can I just say, yeah, your name is now King Chinny. It's really, I keep looking for Chinny. So King. I just hate working with people above me who don't know what they're doing. It's the reason why I left the job you actually like. Yeah. Yeah, and so tone at the top often poisons a large company. So yeah, if you have tone at the top, if you have another company, like a bigger company, come over and take over a smaller, more nimble, far more competent company, you can have just it seep down. Incompetence is a poison. It's just it's a pure poison, and it just seeps through the ranks and just ruins everything. Hi there, German. Yes, sorry. So, there are 4 blockers left to the next bullshittery, which is Divinity Bullshittery Part 3. The blockers are, there's a missing Foley sound effect that I can add this morning. There's a, sorry, wait. Foley sound effects. Fuck, what's blocker number 2? My brain has gone... the artwork from a commissioned artist, which I received yesterday evening, so I can slot those 2 in easy. The remaining 2 blockers after that, come the afternoon, are a voice line from a voice actress I'm commissioning, and animation for a cutscene that kind of needs to be in sync with the voice. So I'm not completely blocked on that, but it's a bit So bear with me. So by the end of today, I should have 2 of the 4 done. After that, it's trickier. Sorry, Swipe. Yes. So, back from Jira days. They're still in my nightmares. So before I became a YouTuber, I was in software quality assurance. So I was a senior QA analyst at a company in London, and before that in Brighton. And it was my job to be sent around the place. Well, not sent around the place. Typically, we were in the office, but we would go producing predominantly enterprise apps, but really anything, be it app or a smartphone or just a back-end system for corporations. Weirdly, the company that I was working for really wanted to nail down those big banking or pharmaceutical corporations, because many years ago, before I did the YouTube stick, before Brexit happened, it was the general assumption that if you're serious about doing business in Europe, you have an office in London. And so our software development company was always trying to court those big whales, you know? So they would send us to some big newspaper or something and have us set up a system for delivering their, I don't know, their content, applets, whatever. That sort of stuff. The big fish. And occasionally they would stick us all on a plane and send us off to Switzerland to talk to like a pharmaceutical company or something and do a big pitch and be like, hey, we can do this, this and this for you. A blocker is something that would stop the release, Zovi. So something that absolutely... in the context of Jira. So a blocker would be something we absolutely cannot release this with this bug. It's a classification of bug, basically, like a severity. Sometimes a blocker would... sometimes the bug could be relatively minor, but it would be escalated up to a blocker in the event that, for example, it voids certification. Like, say, for example, there's some extremely specific piece of criteria that the app must meet, and it doesn't, for, say, like, regulatory reasons. Or maybe there's a type of copy, text, that the client absolutely insists must be correct. Blocker. Like if you misspell the company name, for example, That's like, oh shit. It varies greatly. It really does. And sometimes you can be convinced down from a blocker. Maybe it's not a blocker and a critical, and we'll do it next time or whatever. But yeah. Yeah, we'll do it next sprint. Yeah. And you've always got to continually push for the quality. Yeah, you've got to. Quality is everyone's concern. When you're in QA, it's not necessarily just about testing things, making bug reports, and then having them ignored. It's about making sure that the process is followed continually, and that everyone has an eye for quality. For if you don't wow the client with something that they can actually use and enjoy, then they're not going to be your client for long, are they? Hi there, Ketchup. Welcome indeed. Thank you for saying so, and I hope you're very well, Ketchup on Waffles. And hi there, Novi. Good morning. Well, good afternoon now. Good afternoon, Novi. And Eagle Eye Sweet. Thank you, Eagle Eye Sweet. Ah, dear. That's why it says I used to do development. What's that, sorry? The amount of people who fuck up Scrum processes, my god, I'm a teacher now. Pays shit, but much chiller than devs? Android devs? Or all devs? Yeah. Honestly, so yeah, I mean, I do kind of miss it. I wouldn't want to go back to software development, but there is, depressingly, when you're a YouTuber, it does feel very alone. You do feel like all of your successes, but also your failures are yours, and it can all crash down at a moment's notice. One miscalculation on your part, one joke that you thought was funny, but turns out is kind of iffy. It's all, there's the freedom, but there's also the uncertainty and you got to have, I think, some it's an unstable, difficult career, and there's no one there to help you. It's quite isolating, yeah. Whereas in software development, if you didn't know what you were doing or you were stuck, there was always someone next to you. Like, you could just turn around to your boss and say, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. I need help here. And they'll go, okay, right, can you go, can you work with him? And it's like, okay, there's always help. So going from a team where it always felt like I was with people and I could help people, back, to going to a YouTuber thing was scary. So for the people just joining, yes, you're looking at a brood chamber, one of two in this ant farm. I'd show you the brood chamber with the queen in it. It's just to the right side of the frame, Queen Millicent. Unfortunately, the roof of the glass that they're in is really, really filthy. We can't see much at all. We can see little more than indistinct blobs, I'm afraid. Whereas here, in this chamber, we have a clear shot of at least 7 workers who are working to protect and clean at least, I think, 12 or maybe 13 larvae, the hatched eggs, which are now growing into mature larvae, who will subsequently wrap themselves in silk and convert themselves via pupating into these complete workers. A process that normally takes about 6 weeks or so, roughly. Actually, I'm going to be honest, I don't know with the black garden ant. Let's have a look. Black garden ant, how long to get to an adult worker? So within 5 weeks, the larvae turn into adults. Okay, but it's at least 3 weeks to hatch into a larva, isn't it? So what is it end to end? Hang on. So life cycle, here we go. So egg to ant. So Lasius niger, like other ants, have 4 stages of development: the egg, the larva, the pupa, and the adult. Lasius niger lay tiny white kidney-shaped eggs. Can we see any? No. with a smooth, sticky surface which helps them to be carried in a group instead of one by one. After hatching, Lasius niger proceed onto the larva stage, resembling tiny maggots. The larvae need to be fed by the queen or workers if they are to mature. As they feed, the larvae grow, shedding their skin, doing so usually 3 times in total. With each molt, the larva grows hook-like hairs which allow them to be carried in groups. When Lasius niger larvae reach the last molt, they are generally too big to be carried as part of a group, so they're carried individually. Once the larvae grow large enough, it spins a cocoon around itself. To aid this process, a queen, or workers, may bury it so that it can spin the cocoon completely undisturbed. It then begins the process of metamorphosis. Once the process is complete, a worker emerges from the cocoon, and at this stage the callow worker is completely white but will darken over the course of an hour until it's completely black. Didn't say the time though. Okay. No, doesn't say. In addition to to these the queen in this ant farm, I have this queen. Hi, gorgeous. Are you comfortable? A big fluffy ant. 1 minute. One minute. I don't think she's quite comfortable enough. Let me remedy the situation. Stay. Stay.
White pixels shimmering as dying stars, like thin smoke trailing through the memories of someone still alive. Why not equal to
Much better, don't you think? How beautiful. I love you. I love you. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, for the people just joining the stream, you're looking at Lulu, the French bulldog. She turns 6 in a few days. I don't know exactly which day. I had conflicting dates on the documentation that I got when I received her. So, over the next few days, I'll go to the supermarket and I'll get... Pardon me. I'll get a slice of tuna, which is a bit of a tradition each year. So like a tuna steak.
I'll fry it in a bit of butter and then present it to her with a candle stuck in it. And after that, we'll just say that she's 6. Comfortable? Yeah, she's happy. Ah, dear. Yeah, what else is going on? Really not much. So if you'll forgive me, folks, yes, it's already 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I really should go get on with work in a minute. So what I'll do is, I need to go for a run. I need to sort my shit out. So I'll probably go for a run first. I'll go down to the coast and then back up again. Nothing too big, just a quick jog. And then I'll get on with the editing. So, bullshittery-wise, really, there are 4 things left to do. That's it, really. 2 of them I can easily do today. The last 2 are a bit more complicated. So I'll do my best. Even if it gets to the point where those 2 are not finished, I can at least release it to the Twitch subs and the patrons and just sort of, put a disclaimer and say, voice work is not final in like one 42-second scene. Because I've got like the drafts. So yeah, and then you guys can tell me what you think, and hopefully you like it. Fingers crossed. I really hope. And then afterwards, I'll get on with the next bullshittery after a short break. I'll send some polls out insofar as what you would like. Sorry, to get an idea of what you would like, and yeah, and then just edit to your pleasure. So that's the plan. Oh, look at her. She's very comfy. Oh. Halo, please? Could do. I must admit, Eagle, I'm also very eager to do a Halo bullshittery. If you're not familiar, a couple of years ago, we played so much Halo. We did like 8 months, like weekly, of Halo, and we had so much fun. And I can't wait to edit together. There's so many ridiculous moments, like one moment where fuck, I'm gonna have to go through the clips. Someone tried, you know that scene in is it Always Sunny in Philadelphia? Yeah, I can't remember. There's an American comedy show where they keep trying to mimic chickens and they don't know the noise that they make. Someone did that. They tried to mimic a duck, and they went, instead of going quack, they went quack. And then from that point onwards, everyone just takes the piss out of him. Everyone just says quack, quack. There's even a duck emote. Was it Bundy? Was it? Just ridiculous shit like that. Just we're going into battle and everyone's just going quack. Yeah, like like Deep Space Nine. It was great. Just loads of ridiculous shit. It was really fun. I look forward to making that bullshittery. It was Bundy, wasn't it? Oh dear. Anyway, thank you, Quantum Noble and Calantris, Kaiser Sozi, Maggot Cake, and Praxic. Thank you, all of you. Thank you. Right. Let me have a look and see who's streaming. Is anyone doing anything interesting? Okay. So, Quebec is on doing some Chaos Gate. Okay, so of all the people that I follow, he's quite literally the only man on. Okay. Right. So I'll hand you over to Quebec then. Hang on. Where is he? So, thank you again, everyone. I'll hand you over to ZF Quebec. I'm going to go for a jog, and then I'm going to get back and get on with work today, and hopefully get you this bullshittery as soon as I can. I don't know exactly when. Please bear with me. Right, so, yeah, thank you again. Have a lovely afternoon. All the best, and see you again soon. Look at